Hey, and welcome back to the best thing you watched this week, or at least it's the best thing we watched this week. Hopefully you will enjoy this week's podcast. First, I want to say a massive thank you to those that listen on the audio section of this. We have reached 4,100 views. Listens, and awesome. That's really great. We seem to be building a nice audience there, and a massive thank you to those that watch on our multiple channels. The Ruby Tuesday, that's me, Chris from Movies and Munchies.
As I hit my microphone there, that's got to be great audio.
Is this irritating?
And everybody has left. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us. We've got a great show for you. We're going to be doing Gateway Part 2 because after the week of entertainment that we've had, for me, it's been relatively good watching, but I've also once again been seriously frustrated with people. There is a certain group of people. I don't know what to label them. I'm not gonna.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't think it'll be nice English words. But first, hello, Chris.
Hi, Ruben. How are you?
I'm okay. How hot is it there currently?
Oh, well, in California, we are Satan's butthole, and we have burst into flames, and yeah, it's triple digits here, like high triple digits. But did you know in Death Valley on Thursday, it was 127 degrees Fahrenheit?
I don't know what that is because that's not a real number. It's Celsius, Chris. Celsius.
What is that? Is that 50? Is that what I said it was last night? I don't know.
Oh yeah, if it's 50, then that is ridiculous. Why?
It's stupid. So it's hot in California where I'm at. It is, and it doesn't seem to be going down at all. It's just
Well, later this week when it's 43 and you're on fire, I did suggest you cook an egg. I would really like to see whether your egg will cook because it's so hot. And get a piece of metal, chuck an egg out there, and just have an English breakfast outside.
I have to wash my car first.
Yeah, you probably need to do that. Yeah. But going to last week's movie competition for the quizzes that we do every week.
Yes.
I don't think there was anybody on my channel that commented on who won, but on yours.
Oh, had almost.
Okay.
So Nostromo was the closest. He got 2 out of the 3. Right. He did get the Nicolas Cage reference from your first one. Couldn't place the movie. That's The Rock. So that's the one I did get. I knew that one. I was proud of myself for that.
Not The Rock, the actor, but the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't smell what's cooking. No, correct. The what is it? Michael Bay? Is that it? Yeah. Michael Bay, Alcatraz, Sean Connery. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yes, money penny.
Nice goat.
This reminds me of a Scottish Highlander. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, well, there can be only one.
Or
except in that he played like he was almost Spanish because he had spent so much time with the Moors. Anyway, we digress massively here. The second movie, Back to the Future 3, Nostromo got that. I think Elijah Talbot got that also, and then the final one was Top Gun.
Yeah,
the original, not Maverick. And
the original, and a more obscure quote that people aren't really used to, which is why I think a lot didn't get it.
Yeah,
nice.
Those last 2 I didn't get. So.
I'm looking forward to what Elijah Talbot, whether he can take the lead from our Nostromo, who is generally the winner, or can somebody else sneak in there? That'll be really fun.
Yes.
But should we do this week's?
Yes, please stump me. Which
okay.
Yes.
There's a tiny door in my office, Maxine. It's a portal, and it takes you inside.
Oh, I think I know what this one is.
Yeah, I don't want to say the next 2 words because it's the title of the movie.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah, no, don't say it then.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, next one. Okay, there's only 2 words, or I can say the whole line, but I'll just say the 2 words and see if you get it first.
Okay.
Dead rhino.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm so hungry I could eat the ass end out of a dead rhino.
Oh, dang it.
I didn't do this in the right accent, though.
I know that one, but I can't place it.
I am so hungry I could eat the I'm so hungry I could eat the ass end out of a dead rhino. That is my American accent, people, and I don't know why it totally went to a dead rhino, y'all.
Yeah, it went very southern.
It went really southern.
Texas? I don't know. Yeah.
So we'll just add that as a sneaky to put you off. But it is an American accent, just to draw you back, but not Alabama. Oh dear.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Okay. And coming in with a theme of something we're going to talk about today, everybody should know this quote, whether it's from the movies or from the meme. One does not simply walk into
Walmart.
Yes. And come out unscathed.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, I love him. Okay. Outstanding. Nice. All right. So let us know in the comments, what are those 3 movies? You get bragging rights. That's really all you get. But hey.
Yeah. Well, we mention your name as well. If you want.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Can I ask a question?
You can. Whether I answered,
Yeah.
who
Well,
knows?
fair
Bob's
enough.
your uncle.
Yeah.
Annie's your aunt, apparently. Annie's your aunt. There's so many weird English sayings, because you have Bob's your uncle, and yeah,
that just means right?
Right.
That's
Left.
so weird.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Clear as mud. Here we go. So, and this is apt for what we do. But do you think awards, like movie awards shows, are they actually good indicators of a film's quality?
No.
Would you care to expand?
I think for me, the ones that will probably stand out to most people is the Academy Awards, the Oscars, right? That's the big one. And then you have the BAFTAs in the UK, which is also has quite a renown to it. And then there's the MTV Movie Awards. And then there's my favorites for the worst, the Razzies.
The Razzies, yeah.
Which always cracks me up. I remember in the same year, the Catwoman won for the worst film. And then that actress won she got an Oscar as well that year. I think it was for Monster. Monsters Ball?
Yeah, Halle Berry
Monsters
for
Ball.
Monsters Ball, yeah.
Yeah. So, and she went. She's one of the few actresses that ever actually went to the award ceremony. So kudos to her. Well done. I think the Oscars used to stand for something. I really feel like they don't anymore. Many people everybody I talk about, it used to be an event. In the late 90s, early 2000s, people, I would say general people, not just film critics, stayed up to watch The Host, which is fantastic, normally really funny, at the expense of the people in the crowd, not of that are watching in the audience. And even though it was long, you got to see all the awards represented. Yep. Now, there are so many films that just get shunned or shied away from. We've had these, I'm going to say, white guys representing films for a long time, a big part of who was saying, yeah, these are the films that should get in. And it wasn't a clear representation. And the more we became aware of that, the more people just didn't want to know. And they took so long to make a change that the films that kept getting passed by because they were either a superhero film or that actor just always seemed to get passed by. I mean, how long did it take Leonardo DiCaprio to win for best at something? And there, I could name 10 films that year he should have won over that other person. And it should have been up to quality, not on the person or so many other aspects. 100% there were other things going on that affected the voting of that. And I think people just didn't believe. There's no faith in it. So now it's more like some people trust critics that they watch, like us, that we have some people I generally agree with what they like, so I'll hear what they say and then decide for myself. I think that's the way it should be. I do feel like people people who make films need to be awarded for what they do, but I don't think they should be held up like gods. They're just actors. It is just a job at the end of the day. it's another job. Like, if we're going to do that, we should have award ceremonies for surgeons and watch that. Doctors, comparing that. I understand it's entertainment. Like football, is a religion in England. American football is, I guess, the same in the US.
Yep.
So you asked a big can of worms there, because I have a lot to say on that, Chris.
Yeah, I think I used to watch the Academy Awards also. I mean, we would just, it was the event. You're right. I would sit down
fun.
and just be like, yeah, it totally was. And I didn't agree with a lot of them. I like that it would expose me to certain things that maybe I wasn't aware of, because it would tend to go, sometimes more fringe. These weren't the movies that were necessarily broad appeal. So I'd appreciated that it would bring out more, awareness to some of these. But I think now, and maybe even then, I just wasn't as aware of it. But it's movie people giving themselves awards, and that's where it
that's what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah, like I like the People's Choice Awards because it's truly, this is the fans. This is what we like the most, and and I think that's at least a good barometer for the general tone and the acceptance.
And that's what it should be about, Chris. It should be just about the people. That's who you're making the movies for, right?
Supposedly, yeah. I don't know. I mean, because if you call this art, which it is, there has to be the audience, right? I mean, I guess an artist can make art for just themselves, but then why would you use a distribution house? Why would you use a major studio? You would just... I
mean, last year was the epitome of how wrong it's gone, because you can have an actor like Will Smith, everybody at that point respected. Most people respect him as an actor and as a person. But for him to think it's okay for him to react in front of millions of people, him big enough, because that's how big of a star he's become, for somebody saying an off-kilter joke, but it's Chris Tucker saying an off-kilter joke. Like, come on. It's Chris Tucker. And he walks up on stage. Chris Rock probably would have been Chris Tucker as well, to be fair. But yeah, Chris Rock gets up and then he goes and slaps him. You just... How far removed are they from the real world? Like come on.
Yeah. I wish, I don't know. I think from a standpoint, again, of going to bringing awareness to maybe some films that we didn't know about, I like that. I think that there is value within there. I'm not sure it speaks to quality necessarily. I'm not sure that it elevates the movie, to be some kind of, ooh, wow, this is actually really good. I think some of that is it's fake prestige. It's people wanting to puff up something because they think that it should be puffed up. This is high art, or I like this because it's supposed to be fringe, or it makes me sound or feel like, I can't think of the word. My words have just left me. I don't know. I like them to some degree. I think, though, more so from an entertainment standpoint. If I just want to see some of the things, that people are talking about or whatever, okay, that's great. Awards shows can bring some notoriety to certain things. But I think if you use that only as the gauge of whether or not a movie has quality or is worth seeing, then that's a flawed system there. That we definitely don't want to do that. So
no.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice question. Yeah. It's a big subject, that one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't need to be, but
no,
it's become that way.
Yes. Yes. All right. You want to dive into some of the best things that we watched this week?
Some of the best things we watched this week. Thankfully for me, this wasn't the second week of poo. I felt like I watched great fantasy and I watched great sci-fi. And that's a nice combination. I enjoy that. Those are my two kind of niches, that and anime. So whenever I do that, I'm like, finally, I'm out of the rut. But I suppose we could start with the big one, Chris. You know, there's been a big title of a couple of episodes that dropped this week that we can talk about and maybe get out of the way. Yes. And at the same time, we can talk about the gatekeeping part 2, part 2, like part Hot Shots part 2.
Yes. We are talking about Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I saw this in the theater.
Nice.
Cinemark here in the U.S. Cinemark did a fan screening type of thing. So if you're a part of their loyalty club, you could get free tickets. And so I grabbed some free tickets, and when we went and saw it on Wednesday night, I think, and a day before it actually came out on Amazon. So it no big deal. There weren't a lot of people in my screenings, which was weird. It was fairly empty there, but I had fun with the show so far. I mean, come on, we've watched 2 episodes, right?
Yeah.
I think if you go in thinking that this is going to be like Lord of the Rings, I think you've got your expectations wrong. This is not only from a timeline standpoint happening way before, but it's not done by Peter Jackson. And so it is, the presentation, it's faster, I think, in a lot of ways. Like it's moving along. The way this starts out is they've introduced a whole bunch of storylines. And my hope is that they're going to converge as we get towards the end. Like there's going to be these tie-ins. Yeah. You think back to Fellowship of the Ring, we start out with a singular storyline that then branches out, to then come back. And so it's different. Some of the acting in this, I really enjoyed. I loved the dynamic when Elrond goes to the dwarves. And him,
my favorite part of the 2 episodes.
Him and Doran, is that it, right?
Yeah, I think Doran. Yeah. I just wanted more of them. I thought this is where you're excelling, when you stop all your action and your cinematography and your expense and your budget. It all looks great, and I'm enjoying it. But when you get down to the relationships and you start building character, that's when it was shining. Because those 2, fantastic.
Well, and Doran and his wife. That banter argument, the snarkiness,
real.
We laughed. I mean, that was I thought it was very humorous. I thought it was witty. I mean, like I felt that relationship, like you could feel this loving relationship, but they don't always see eye to eye. I mean, it felt real. It was.
And I felt the disappointment from Elrond as well, like in himself, not realizing, the time that he's been away. Like how it was like, that I really should have seen that. This is my close friend. And then I just want to put a stopper in like where we are right there with that and just say, let's just talk about the actual story. It's from an appendices. They have the rights to appendices. So it was always going to be a different look at Middle Earth. It has the Lord of the Rings title to it, but your Galadriel, your Elrond, they're going to be different. And here comes the gatekeeping kind of part of the conversation, is we have the Tolkienites out in force. And it's weird to me how they think that this is not what Tolkien would have wanted. How do we know what Tolkien would have wanted? We don't know. You can't speak for him or his family. He produced something with the technology he had at the time, which was writing and books. Now we have television and film, and we're expanding on this fantasy genre world in a massive event because it's huge, the most expensive thing that we've ever seen. Now, I can understand people not liking it and having a genuine reason for that, like a reasonable, I didn't like it because this character just means so much to me. And even on character basis, I would say the characters are different, so you need to take that perspective and ship that out of the water a little bit, because even Galadriel, she's going to be different to the Galadriel, It's also a few hundred years before, so we don't know what makes Galadriel in Lord of the Rings. We know a little bit from the books, but from the appendices, we don't know what they all went through in that time. So they're taking an idea of what she went through and building up that character probably to the point of the Lord of the Rings, if you still want to make it canon in that storyline. I don't think you should. I think it should be its own thing, because we have so many hundreds of years to work with. Why not build on the lore that there is there? their own lore, their own story. So that was my little kind of like, I understand where you're coming from if you don't like it. I don't understand the massive review bombing. Amazon have jumped on board and gone, okay, we're holding all reviews now for the next 72 hours. That was just a few hours ago because they can't believe that the disparity, what's the word? Like,
discrepancy.
It's gone. There's no in between. There's just, we love this or flipping hate it.
Yep.
And then the comments are so hurtful once again, like the racism that we have with the African-American actress who was fantastic. And the argument is that you can't be black because you're a dwarf and you live underground, therefore there's no skin pigmentation. This is a fantasy world. Who knows what goes...
Wait. No, you cannot talk to the realism of this fantasy show.
Are you serious? Yeah. That is a big part of the nonsense. And also the whole thing about Tolkien hating it. Tolkien wouldn't have liked this. They speak for Tolkien.
Yeah.
This is gatekeeping. Like, this is exactly what we were talking about last week. People taking something and new people coming in and doing something with something that they love. Fair enough. You love it. Great. I love it. It's probably the best trilogy of all time, and in your opinion, and probably in my opinion as well. But they're just our opinions from two 40-year-old dudes, middle-aged, we're basically living in Middle Earth in our own minds. That's just our opinion. And your opinion is just your opinion. Doesn't make it factual or right. But people are stating like blanket statements. It's not. It's crap. Tolkien would have hated this. It's like, who are you at the end of the day?
Yeah, I don't... Why can't you let somebody like
really
something? That's the other thing that I don't understand. Especially in the thing that gets me with this series or any of the other ones is, unless you are a writer, a star of this, one of the directors, a producer, then shut the hell up.
Right.
You have no vested interest in this succeeding or failing. Shut up.
Exactly.
If you don't like it, turn it off. If you like it, then watch more of it. I don't understand the hate and the vehemence that comes from this or from any other toxic fandom.
It's just entertainment at the end of the day, right? It's such a weird passion to take that passion and make it toxic.
It makes me sad for people that, I looked at some, just some of the reviews, well, not some of the reviews, just comments across the board on all over the place. And it's like, wow, you must not be happy.
Like what is going on in your life? But there's a lot of people then that are really struggling if that's how they react to this sort of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know about you, going back to the story.
Let's get back into the actual.
And I can't, Erundir, is that his name? The elf. Now he's a black elf. Holy crap. Again, we can't have this.
Oh my gosh. What?
Shut up.
In a fantasy show with dragons and
oh my gosh. Again,
and magic.
I go back. You know what? I want people all over the world to watch a show and go, hey, that looks like me. To be able to pull somebody out from the show and then feel an instant connection to it because somebody in there looks like them. Anyway, I love, I don't know anything about this dude. He's he may turn out to be very timid, but he seems like
he's got a presence about him for sure.
He's on edge, right? Like he's the one that's observant and feeling things, like he's got the tingle in the force. The
Peter tingle, yeah.
Yeah, he knows something that's going on. And oh my gosh. And then the way the orcs are moving.
Oh my gosh. Can we just say how they've made orcs scary again? Like proper, because I didn't think they were that scary in the original trilogy. No, the first book, The Hobbit, right? Like the Lord of the Rings did it right because it was practical, but then we went digital, unfortunately, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. But here, the costume design and just the presence of them, when we see from a hole, the claw come out, and just I was like, flipping heck, this is actually scary. The way they're filming it, the way they're shooting it, I was like, damn, fair enough.
Yeah,
your enemies are damn scary. They should be. If you read the description of them, of what they are.
Well, yeah, and I want there to be this tension in there. I want the kid in the thing barely looking through, trying not to make the mom knocking the thing off in the closet, and it becomes engaging at that point, because now I'm going along with the characters, even if you look at it from, there is still a lot going on in the story, like we're bouncing from here to here to here to here. I mean, again though, we're 2 episodes in. We're just establishing.
But I get it. I know what they're doing. This is not a trilogy of a movie that we can see once every year or 2 years. This is something that they need to establish of what the story is going to be.
Yeah.
So they've done all 3 films at the same time, basically, right? Starting from their beginnings, their respective. So as they're introducing all those new characters, we're getting to see new locations and sets and what they've been doing the whole time. And it's stunning. I mean, it's so pretty. But we're also getting like encounters with the worm snake, like in the ocean, which was fantastic. It went from, because I've heard some people going, Galadriel's too powerful because of this interaction she had with the ice troll and how she took it down, that kind of thing. But then it really humanizes her and shows us she's not all powerful. Like just in the ocean, she almost died a number of times. I really liked the fantasy bits that they showed us, the comparisons of things that we've seen in Lord of the Rings, but then building on maybe lore that we haven't seen. So we saw a troll in the dungeon, and then we saw an ice troll, and the whole thing about Saruman. Is it not Saruman? Sauron. Mm-hmm. Sauron, not Saruman. Sauron. The mark and how that comes about. The link to her brother. There are moments that they're just building characters, and I was on the ride, and the score. Oh, so good.
It is. Well, and it's got so many different like themes in there too. Like there was kind of a Western type of theme that was coming through at one point, and you just. Yeah. Dude, okay, I liked that Galadriel was experiencing the hate and the tension from humans, within there. Like it's like, ooh, that's, I mean, there's we don't have the full context of everything, but isn't that awesome that it makes it so much more powerful when they finally decide to fight together.
Yeah, it does.
To take on, you have to overcome this massive, like, it's basically racism. I mean, it's
for sure.
It's a race of elves. They don't.
It's a race of elves, and it's humans. They don't like each other, and you're lesser than because you're a human or an elf. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but I like the fact that it was the elves across the land that was kind of protecting all of them,
everybody,
even the humans. Just watching for this if this enemy comes back, because this enemy is so powerful. Oh man, I got shivers. The one point where she's in, they're hunting for Sauron, and I can't feel the flames, and the evil is so thick in here. There is no warmth coming from it. I was like, dude, that line is awesome because it evokes the presence of what's going on. Yeah. So good.
Yeah, I'm having a blast with it so far. I mean, we've seen, again, I can't reiterate this enough. We've seen 2 episodes. You know what I mean? It would be like watching the first hour and a half of the Fellowship of the Ring, and then hi, Kitty.
Hello, cat.
That's awesome. That was the best photo bomb ever, right there. That was great.
Demon cat is right here.
Oh man, that's so funny. For anybody listening on the podcast and didn't see the video, Ruben's cat had gotten on his desk and just like took over the camera.
Oh my gosh, he's being naughty. He's behind the camera now. He's knocking things over. I think he wants my attention.
Possibly. Oh, that's so funny. Oh goodness. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. I mean, the money that they've poured into it from the graphics. Speaking of that, the visuals. Think about like when we see in the Peter Jackson trilogy, we basically only see, and then of course the name goes out of my head. The elven.
The
city.
kingdom, the heaven.
Well, no. In the trilogy, we only see the one place.
Oh, the one place, yeah, and we've seen 3.
So many different. I mean, it's like, and it's expansive, and I hope we dive into more of that.
It's like a metropolis. It feels like, like living, breathing cities, and it's like, yeah, of course there would be. That makes sense. Even like the smithies, that they would have had to have.
And it's all. This is all pre-Sauron with the rings.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been the devastation and the widespread monster-sized war that does come. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a blast. I don't know what those that didn't enjoy it. I don't know what you saw. I've read the books multiple times, both The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And when I say multiple times, 6 or 7 times I've read all of them through. I don't know how many times I've watched the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings and the trilogy as well, even though they're not as good, but I still enjoy them, the Hobbit trilogy. Yeah, big fan. Played all the games as well. So to say to me, well, you're not a true fan if you enjoy this.
Chill. How much did you get paid for your review?
You've been paid not to say that. You can say to review bomb it because some other fantasy series. Yeah, HBO paid you because they've got a fantasy series running at the same time. So
yeah, and why can't we enjoy both House of the Dragon and Rings of Power? I'm enjoying both so far.
Man, episode 2 I thought was even better than episode 1, House of the Dragon. I thought it was great.
Oh my gosh, the machinations that are going on in the political realm. I mean that, and
the Arya Stark moment on her dragon. I don't know why I call her Arya Stark, but when she comes in and just refuses,
Daenerys, you mean?
Daenerys, yeah, yeah, and basically, lands and goes. For those on the audio, I'm
plucking your shirt there. Huh?
Yeah. What'd you say? Hawking. Yeah, I'm scuffing my shirt. I'm badass, basically. But I mean, you would be, wouldn't you, if you landed on the bridge with a dragon?
Yeah, I mean, what a power play right there.
It was great.
And then Hightower, dude. This guy is. We've known he's bad news right from the start, but
for sure.
Oh my gosh, just him slyly maneuvering through and just getting his way, and then the devastation in Rhaenyra's eyes when King announces that he will be marrying her best friend.
Yeah, that was good. I thought it was good writing. It was totally good not to have them know because of that reaction. Great fantasy. I mean, again, it's early days. It's the second episode, but they've built so much of the characters already. So I'm really looking forward to. I think part of what makes Game of Thrones good is the political side of it.
Yes,
because it wouldn't be Game of Thrones without the there's political stuff and then there's dragon and sword and gruesome moments.
Yes,
that's kind of what the series is. So we've got a lot of fantasy running at the moment. Really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted by my cat. I don't know what's up with it. What was top of your list this week?
Well, the Rings of Power was the top of my list. That was I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm excited to see this coming week where it's going to go. Nice. Next on my list, we are going to disagree, and that's okay. My list is actually very short because, unlike you, my week of watching was still very, very disappointing.
You were wrong.
Gatekeeper Ruben, thank you.
You were paid, Chris.
I was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm not sure by whom because if I on a lot of the things I just didn't like, so that doesn't.
By Walmart.
There you go. Okay, well, this one. Admittedly, like from a quality type of standpoint, it's just middle of the road.
Oh wait, are you actually going to talk about what I think you're not going to? Chris.
Well, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think I'm going to talk about?
Love in the Villa?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, no!
Dude.
What the hell?
Dude, there are problems with it. It is. But it's a rom-com. And you know what? It just connected with me. I loved the snarky
You want to go
banter.
to not Venice, Italy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sure. That but no, it was like Tom Hopper and Kat Graham, they're back and forth. It was cute and it was lighthearted. And, even they pull pranks on each other, which are very lighthearted pranks. These are not big.
I'm sorry. Did you watch my review? Lighthearted? That dude's allergic reaction, he could have died. He was almost dead at one point. The hives he was coming out, I was like, dude.
He didn't die, so we're okay.
Just put all that stuff on. Lighthearted.
She didn't know. So say it was innocent. It was some innocent
I'm sorry,
fun
I innocently killed you.
Yeah, well, he told
sorry,
her she was eating.
carry on. I interrupted.
He told her she was eating horse. So, Oh, if I only got paid for reviews, dude.
I know,
do you know how
right?
much better I would be able to. I'd be able to quit my job.
Yeah, it'd be much better. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I need to look into this. How do I get a?
How does one? Let's ask Google. Yeah.
Yes. Oh goodness. So anyway, the humor within it, I liked. It didn't make me laugh out loud nonstop or anything else. It was amusing. I chuckled through some of it. I had a smile on my face a lot of the time. It is ridiculous. Absolutely, hands down. It is absolutely 1,000% predictable. I mean, every arc is extremely obvious. It is telegraphed.
You're not selling me, Chris. You're not selling me.
But dude, they click. Like, I liked them. I rooted for them to be together. You know what I mean?
See,
like,
maybe that's the issue, because I really like him, but I didn't buy her at all. I just found her really rude and annoying. I didn't like her from the get-go. I was just like...
See, I found her that way at the beginning, and that's how. But they did. She did a very quick transition.
Yeah.
There, you know what I mean. And so,
the romantic side now. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it perfect? Not by any means. Is it awesome? Not by any means. No. But it made me feel good. Like
that's what it needs to do, really. Yeah.
Right. It was entertaining. I mean, that was the thing. Like. I don't think, like, if I think to some of just, like, because this is on Netflix, if I think to some Netflix rom-coms, this is not going to be top of my list to go back to. I mean, I love Always Be My Maybe with Randall Park and Ali Wong. That one, phenomenal. Love Hard, which shouldn't work at all, and yet it totally does. And that... Oh my gosh. Okay, for anybody not on the video, I have cat butt now. That's what I see. That's awesome. And a tail and Ruben.
Stop swiping your tail at me. Okay.
We have gone off the rails.
Problem?
It's just animals gone wild here. Oh my goodness.
You keep going, Chris.
Yes. Oh, that's so funny. But, I mean, here's the thing. Casual watch, dang, I don't even know what happened there. Wow, the cat knocked off Ruben's
that was
camera.
Cat tail. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, it's easy and it's casual and it's cute. Yeah. And when compared to a lot of the other things that I watched this week, that's where it also comes
fair
into.
Enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, what didn't you like about this?
Well, let me say what I liked about it first.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so I was surprised more at your score because you gave it 4 out of 5. And I thought, flipping heck, the rom-coms to be 4 out of 5, like Love Actually is a 4 out of 5. Notting Hill is a 5 out of 5. So when you're comparing it to the rom-coms, I was like, 4 is high for this film. Even though I did enjoy it, and I gave it more than a half. I gave it 2.75, so it's more than halfway. It adding up to the... excuse me, there's 60%. So I like the inclusion of the Romeo and Juliet story because it was different. They tackled it differently, and I thought that was really interesting. So when I watched your review on it, I thought, yeah, that's actually a really good point. The Romeo and Juliet moments I liked. I like Hopper because I think he has really good comedic timing. And the fact that they didn't go straight to now I'm in love. Because it was so predictable. You knew what was going to happen. And there's this moment where you think, oh, now it's the romantic bit. And it wasn't for a bit. And I thought, that's clever. I really wanted you to do that. That was the only thing that was going to keep me watching. And then the end, where you think it's going one bit, and you think, oh, this is the bit where they... And then it does something a little bit different for a while.
Sure.
Because there's only so much you can do with this formula once you start this formula out like they did. And, of course, I'm biased on the location. I thought... Yeah, cause having just been to Venice for 2 weeks, seeing Italy, I thought the authenticity of the food remark was hilarious. Yeah? Where they said only eat where the locals eat. I was like, that is spot on. Because expensive restaurants in Venice, their food was always rubbish. And then we were local and we had food where it's just where the locals would eat. And it was phenomenal. And,
nice.
Yeah. So there was moments like that where I thought, yeah, I really feel like they got authentic Italy right. And that was nice, because you don't always get that in rom-coms. And sometimes when you're watching these things, you're like, how real is this? Is it actually like that? It's probably fake, because it's Hollywood. So all of that was quite good. But I would still only give it 2.75 because it's unoriginal. You know where it's going. I didn't really like her. I think the acting was okay, but I think sometimes the dialogue, I think they could have shaved it somewhat. It did take a little bit of time to get to those moments. I was expecting it to get there. It's not a film I would mind putting on in the background again while we're having like a Sunday roast or something. Having that, it's definitely lighthearted and fun. Yeah, so I don't have anything massively negative to say about it. I just don't think it was great, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that legitimate. That's And you know what? You mentioned something. It was a little long. I mean, I didn't notice the time as much as I thought I was going to, but when I saw the runtime of it, I was like, yeesh, that does
for a rom-com, that's a long time. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Unless you are Notting Hill 2 or Love Actually 2 or About a Boy 2, you have no right in making long rom-coms. Those are my standards for like the best rom-coms of all time.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So moving on to next, we'll do something completely... And now for something completely different, as they say in England. There is I guess it's not a new anime, it's a part 2 of an anime. They dropped the latest 12 batch episodes on Netflix. And I'm just going to find the multiple pages I have here because my cat's butt moved many things, including my mouse, which moved many things. Okay. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean Part 2. So Netflix acquired the rights to the Jojo Bizarre Adventures anime, which is based off a very popular manga, however you want to pronounce it. And the 12 episodes dropped this week. Now, the thing I love about this series particularly, especially this story, is it's the daughter of Jojo. And Jojo is in a bit of a spot of bother. He's basically dead. And they're trying to bring him back.
Oh.
The thing that was great about this anime, and also cringy at the same time, it's one of those animes that says their powers when they use them. I'm going to use them. Go! Like Pokemon sort of thing. Or Hunter Go. There was this Swedish animated sort of anime thing where I choose you, Balthazar! And that's what you got. So you get that there. It's also ridiculously violent, ultra hyper bright focus. Like the animation style is so bonkers and bizarre. It really connects with what their powers are, because every character that you meet that has one of these powers called stands, that they're like discs that insert into your brain.
Oh, weird.
And you kind of have to watch it, and they give you an ability of some sort, and they're always weird. And that for me is my favorite thing. Like, you never know what that character is going to do. The one character, a few episodes ago, had anti-gravity. And if they affected you with it, that means everything you touch goes anti-gravity. And that means it affects the air. And so if you're in anti-gravity air, that means your blood is about to boil and your body's about to explode. They really think about what would that mean if you had that power actually, and what could you do with it? So they go complex, and then they go silly. And it's this weird mesh, and that's Jojo. From the beginning, it's hyper weird to maximize the hyper weird story with the weird animated style that they're going for. and it's the same animator throughout. From the first 5 seasons of Jojo has been animating this story as well. You can watch all 24 episodes now of the full story of Stone Ocean, because they dropped the 12 and then they dropped another 12, which is nice, rather than doing their episodic drops, because they've been doing this, Netflix particularly, where they buy the anime and they time it for release in Japan, and then you have to wait week by week, and that's difficult because you might as well be watching She-Hulk for like 21-minute episodes, which is painful every week, because I don't get what you're doing with that. But it's really nice, and you can just skip the intros and outros. Watch some of them because hilarious, really fun.
Nice.
If you're an anime fan, you need something different and weird, and you've been wondering if you should get into JoJo or what this new season's like, it's fantastic. It's great, and the voice cast is bonkers. Either or, like if you don't like reading, the English or American accents are great as well. They've done a good job. They've matched up the mouth movements really well. So,
that's good.
2 thumbs up.
Sweet, cool. What else you got?
Got loads. Oh, you done already?
I'm done. I'm serious. I didn't have.
Are you serious? Oh wow.
No, I had a poo week. Everything started off like promising, and then it just made me mad.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to talk a little bit about nostalgia. In your memory, Chris, did you have one of those summers or a few summers where you were an elderly teen or a young teen, where you just spent a bunch of time with friends and you were outside? It's one of those summers that you knew that at the end of the summer something was going to change and it was going to be different. So it was like this magic time. Did you ever have those summers? Unless you were like born in a prison camp, I don't know.
I mean, not that I knew everything was going to change, but I mean, I'm Generation X, so summers were, I got up, I got on my bike, I went to swim practice down at the park, and I may have come home at some point to get a little bit of food, and then I was gone until it was dark and time for dinner. So, my parents, I could have been dead in the ditch. Yeah. Could have been,
in South Africa, those were my summers. On my bike. Yeah, we were out with friends making bows and arrows and spears and running away from bulls because we had some wildlife. And rivers, doing all sorts of things that we shouldn't be getting up to. But that
totally.
Okay, so here, with that in mind, is a indie film that comes from a couple of students that have been making this film for 5 years. And it started out as they were making it during uni while they were like film students. And then they got a little bit of budget and they finished uni and they got a little bit. And at the end, they managed to scrape together like 50 grand. But they've been filming over 5 years to put together this nostalgic film called Space Waves. And it's basically, this is the synopsis. Young mischief seekers Marvin and Joey do whatever it takes to catapult their misadventures podcast Space Waves to the top of iTunes charts by the end of the summer. So they know that this is probably their last summer of like where they can keep being best friends. And it's this kind of misadventure of these 2 young guys that it feels like a magic moment, like that summer. But what we have here, which I thought you might relate to, Chris, is their podcast. Which they talk about the craziness of their town, and it's a small town, and they also they have girl issues, all those kind of coming of age things, and then we have this script that feels young, but it feels accurate to the characters that of what's going on. So there were some issues with some of the dialogue that I just thought they could have scrapped. That didn't need to be in there, or responses to like I don't think they would actually react or respond that way. They would say something and then the response to what they'd written of that character saying, I was like, that's weird. Okay. But at the same time, it's teens from basically another culture, American young. I'm not that. I'm South African young. But for the majority of the film, I thought I was just kind of transported into this moment in time, and I think I was a little bit kind, and I think that's okay because it's their first film. Coming out of uni, spending 5 years on their project. There are some shots that aren't as clean as I would have liked, but I don't know if I could have done better. Putting on the shirt of a filmmaker, which I have been, and a writer, and behind the scenes I've done behind the camera, in front of the camera, you name it. we've been in this business for a while, so we do have some understanding. But I really wanted to shine a light on these guys. If this is their first film, I would say do them the honor of hiring, like renting it. It's probably like £2 to £3 a watch, because you can find it everywhere. They've put it out on iTunes and what have you.
That was going to be my question. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, you can find it. It's out now, and they've done really well to promote it, like they have. And they've sent me a few emails like, have you watched it yet? Have you watched it? I'm sorry, I'm so busy and I feel guilty every time I haven't watched it. But I think they are up for having a chat, Chris. So maybe we'll have them on just for like a 10-minute segment to talk about the whole journey of it, because that could be really fun. Yeah,
dude, that would be outstanding. Yeah.
Yes. So let's do that. We'll chat to them. We'll get them on maybe next week or the week after, just see how their time schedule is. But
yeah, give
it a watch. It's really fun. It's different. It's quirky. The dialogue couple of times just had me cracking up because I thought the characters that we were seeing were hilarious. Nice. So this is their first time outing. I can't wait to see what else they do. That is one, and I'm just gonna click the screen on that. And here, I know sometimes people say, "Hey, why don't you guys do something, review some of the older ones? You're always doing the new stuff, what's popular to get those views." All right, here's one for you. In 1713, this is another one you'll like, because we're having a conversation about a certain location where you should move to, Chris.
Oh, nice.
In 1713 Scotland, Rob Roy MacGregor is wronged by a nobleman, and his nephew becomes an outlaw in search of revenge while fleeing the Redcoats and faces charges of being a Jacobite. Obviously, I'm talking about Rob Roy. I think Rob Roy is one of those films that people look over because it was in the times of The Postman, Braveheart. Mm-hmm. It was one of the lesser known ones. The critics were harsher to it at the time. But for me, this is one that I continue to go back to now and again in amongst all of those. Like the few of the Mel Gibson ones there were, the Kevin Costner ones there were. Mm-hmm. But Liam Neeson knocks it out of the park with this one. It's actually really entertaining. And it has an ensemble cast of Jessica Lange, John Hurt, Tim Roth. Eric Stoltz as well. Tim Roth, my goodness.
He must have been a baby at that point.
He absolutely is, and he's so campy. And one of the trivia points of this film is he played his character so eccentric that he really thought he was going to be fired from the film. And he told his agent while he was on set, he said, go start looking for other jobs for me, for other movies and TV spots that I can do, because I'm totally going to get fired. But he didn't. And it was one of the films that people started going, who is this character? Who's this dude? But there's a lot of heart. Like, if you like Braveheart, this is like Braveheart. It does all of that. It has the heart, the score, well filmed. It's the sort of thing that people go, they don't make them like they used to anymore. This is one of those films. And seeing Liam in his prime, before Qui-Gon Jinn, or, where he's going to go rescue his dog because someone's taken. Yeah. Dog, you've been taken. Tell me where you are. I really want to see Taken 4 when they take his dog. Anyway, this was a nice kind of callback. If you're looking for one that you thought, maybe this is better than I thought it was, that is definitely one you should check out.
Nice. It has been, I have not seen that since it came out.
Yeah.
So I would,
watch it.
Yeah, this is one of those that I
great.
would, it would be fresh again for me. Nice. Okay. Very cool.
And I said at the beginning that I had a good week of fantasy and sci-fi.
Yes.
I finally got round to finishing Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Oh.
The thing is, it's done something positive and it's done something negative. Because I think I'd forgotten what good Star Trek was. Because we've had a number of other series that are Star Trek, but are not Star Trek. And they're like, they've lost... So there's this Netflix Star Trek Discovery. Now, I love the sci-fi and the adventure in that. But as the series flow into like the fourth season particularly, they've kind of lost what Star Trek is. It's more drama with some sci-fi. And that's not what Star Trek is. No. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is the most Star Trek series you're ever going to get. From the crazy single episodes of the entities that form in the middle of nowhere to them trying to figure out, to, the captain saying, we'll scuttle the ship, to, references to the original, to bits that you're not going to see coming, to the clothes they wear being accurate, to what Star Trek is. It just somehow hits every fan, what fans want, and then also manages to do something new. The cast look like they came straight out of like the 60s or 70s Star Trek show. They've managed to make it like with the technology that we have now, upgrade everything, but still make it feel like Enterprise, that sort of thing. And then also, they're dealing with timey-wimey stuff. You're always dealing with timey-wimey stuff in Star Trek. Someone's going to mess with some sort of crystal that's going to make you, think of this type of person. Yeah. Every episode I was like, that's great. I really should go to bed now. And then my wife would be like, no, just stick the next one. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not tired. Let's just stick. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. And then 4 episodes in, it's good when you're like, you should have gone to bed, like a good book, right? You can't stop turning the pages. This one is you can't stop, switching on the next one. I was just sad when it finished. I was like, come on, I want to watch more now.
Do you get the sense there's going to be another season?
Absolutely, without a doubt. This is like Paramount's one of their flag series that is probably drawing in a lot of people. Thankfully, you can get Paramount in the UK now. I know you've had it for a while, but their streaming service is now available on normal places like Amazon as well. As like a little add-on, which is really cool.
Very cool.
So yeah, that was a nice treat. Last one. I have 2, but we could let's talk about Devil in Ohio.
Oh, good God. Okay, yeah, let's talk about this.
Ohio. Because we loved it.
Yeah. Well, when you say we, you're not talking about you and I.
No. I'm talking about me and Kirsten. Yeah, we pretty much binge watched the whole thing together, like from beginning to the end.
Yeah, my wife and I did the exact same thing.
And then you hated it.
No, we hated it.
Oh, amazing. Okay, tell me why you hated it.
No. You get to tell me why. This is your list. This is where the best thing you watched this week. You need to.
Okay, so I don't know.
Okay, and that's why Ruben liked Devil in Ohio.
That's why I liked different. Okay, there were a lot of frustrations, and the miscommunication was a big frustration for me.
Yeah.
I mentioned it in my review, but it's not just them. It's Hollywood. It's their technique that they use now when they don't want the mystery to be solved. What do? They stop having couples and families talk to each other so that the mystery cannot be solved, which is ridiculous because actually at the end of the day, they have one decent conversation. Everybody's like, all right, so we should leave now because we're in danger. Yeah, cool. That is the thing that everybody is using. But putting that aside, I loved, is it Madeline someone who plays May?
Yes.
Madeline Arthur who plays May. Her ability to creep you out just with a facial expression was fantastic. I like Emily Duchanel, who's basically her character from Bones. She has a lot of dialogue scenes, and I used to love Bones, but I was just laughing. I was like, seriously, you're a medical doctor again. It's a different medical doctor, but it's still, and she has lots of like monologue scenes and doesn't show a lot of emotion. I was like, that's Bones, right? And it was very frustrating to me how she wouldn't spend time with her family, but she was written that way. She wants to save everybody because of the thing that's happened in her past. Yes. It was a nice juxtaposition as to relating to why she was trying to save this particular girl. At the same time, I don't think we needed to go on all of the tangents that the story goes on. I think that the series could have been 6 instead of 8 because it spends so much time with so-and-so daughter who's upset that she's been overshadowed by her sister, or that this particular person doesn't like that person. Then we have the other sister who's dealing with identity issues. It's not, what's the point of the series? How does that further your story? How does that further the plot? It didn't. So we could have taken those stories out completely and still had even 5 episodes, and it would have been much quicker and done. And probably the pacing would have felt sharper for you as well. For me, the star of the show, even though like the acting, was the young girl who did like the show tune numbers.
Dude, her voice is phenomenal.
she's a fantastic singer. She also is the only character that has her shit together.
This is true.
Which is hilarious if you think about it.
Very true.
Nobody talks to each other. They all are like all over the place and, you know, messing up their family. But this little girl is like, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So I like the visuals of it. I thought the costumes were great. Once we had the reveal of the bad guy and he started speaking like a caricature, you guys
my
really,
gosh.
I'm on the machine, you are the brother. I was like, what? Really? Is that actually how you talk? I know you're a cult leader, but really? I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was,
absolutely. Yeah, I don't know why that was a thing. Kay didn't see that, but I was just like, why have they directed them to put on a voice like, I know he kind of sounds like that in real life. That's his voice. But he's put on this facade.
An effect, right? Yeah.
And I was like, it really feels like you could be on a stage play and this is like, he's behind you. That sort of character.
Yeah.
And I'm not selling you on this, but I still really enjoyed it. And I unfortunately, it's a limited series. I'm not saying unfortunate, but there's already people saying this is going to get a second season because of how they left. Okay, you tell me why you didn't like it, Chris.
Let me start off with what I did like.
Okay, cool.
I
nothing.
No. That's not true. Actually, like
Okay.
I loved the setup at the beginning. I loved the intrigue that is created, that we have this person escaping from something, and I mean, like escaping something harrowing. When we see what's on her and what has been done to her, I mean, this is like, ooh. There are some real stakes here. This isn't like just some chanting cult where it's like, ooh, you know, okay, we're scary and we're ominous. No. These people are bad news. I liked, like you, the tie-in with Emily Deschanel's her own backstory. While it's not an exact parallel, there are pieces in there that help to explain and help to draw her in, you know, and her connection with the character of May. I like that. I think that was good. The backstory that they begin to give on the cult as May like recounts the story and of their lore. Yeah. Like I'm like, this is intriguing. This is kind of creepy and weird. And again, like I think with most cults, you look at it and you go, well, that's kind of ridiculous. But it works within their bubble. And if people have bought into this and they believe it and they perpetuate it, okay, that makes sense. You know, the manipulation, at least at the beginning, I liked by May. It becomes very obvious at what she's doing. And so then it moved from being, ooh, I like this, to please stop. It just, like I see everything that's coming now. So there's no surprise. There's no
Did you know it's a true story?
No, I didn't know it was based on a true story.
Because the book is based on a true story.
Is it? So see, that means though that there is more lore that they should have spent time on. Yeah. Okay. So
so about the cult, because we get to know next to nothing about them, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a 7-minute scene of flashback as she talks about this, which I appreciated, and then when we go into the we get glimpses here and there of the cult in their compound and varying effectiveness, but there was stuff there. They could have. I thought that's where it really. If you have these two families, basically, if that becomes the story, the one family who is trying to figure out how to protect this person and have their own internal conflicts because of the mom's like obsession with the person, and then you have the cult family and their own obsession within there. If you focus on those two, I think that's where it can become compelling, you know, but this got distracted. Like I would say, okay, so as much as I liked the little kid, I liked her voice singing. I wanted more. Every time she sang, I was like, dang, do more of that. But her storyline, her storyline, the oldest daughter's storyline, the husband's storyline, the cop and his whole thing about his ex-wife or his ex-fiance and their dog and everything. I don't care. I don't need it. It's filler. It's not on there a lot. But all of these things in each of those characters, they bring back a tiny bit and they tie in tiny little ways. But to spend so much time on each of them was absolutely unnecessary, because at the end of it, it doesn't progress anything forward. Although I thought it was obvious, I liked the very end and how it's left. I don't want them to continue it. I like that Emily Deschanel...
I thought it was so dark, the ending.
Well, I like that she has to sit now with the mess that she's made. She has... I don't want to give spoilers.
That's so harsh, Chris.
No,
because she's basically being gaslit, like the same position.
Seriously, but see, she chose that. And what did she do with her family? See, she made conscious decisions all the way through, and now she has to sit in her flawness. And that it doesn't mean that is there's no redeemable arc there, because I think there still is. When the conversation with her husband, she says, I haven't given up. He says, I haven't either. There's hope within there.
Yeah, but she needs to get rid of the serial killer first. Yeah.
Yeah. So it, like, I think it could have been 4 episodes. I think had they gotten rid of all of the extraneous stuff and really focused in. Also, the whole, they hint at it with some of the tie-in between the cult and then other officials within the other town that Emily Deschanel lives in. I thought, had you dived into, like, to show some more of those actual concrete connections there,
I would have liked that.
I
would have also liked them to delve maybe into supernatural something. It hinted at it, and I thought, like, if the crow was a thing that happened, then there is supernatural stuff. You could have played more into that, and it would have made it even creepier. The cult.
But see, I think it would have broken out of some of the realism that they were trying to establish. Like,
are you saying that stuff isn't real?
No, I believe that the occult is real. But I think, like, the way that we see it with the crow especially, I interpret that as something wrong in the hearer's head.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of a delusion going on, or some kind of that leads them there. Not to say that it couldn't be that, but I think it takes it down a different realm, and it begins to become plausibly or implausible at points. You know what I mean? Like, it puts a chink in the armor of, like, well, I don't believe in that, so the whole thing becomes fake. Whereas if I don't go down that realm, we do know that there are cults, and we do know that there are fanatics within, certain beliefs. And so that feels very real. Yeah.
Okay. So you liked it then?
Yes, I hate watched it. That's for sure. I was so bummed too, because it started out and then I just was like,
I think when I spoke to you, you weren't sure whether you liked it or not. So you were about midway point, and then I didn't hear anything since, because you probably watched my review and gone, oh no. Ruben must have been high.
Did laugh when I laughed when I watched your review, because I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good discussion, because yeah. I do agree with you wholeheartedly, though. I am tired of the whole miscommunication or lack of communication as the impetus for tension.
Yeah,
Stop
it's true.
that. Yeah, it is.
It's weak writing. Yeah.
Very. Yes. We need to get away from that.
100%. Midway through the credits, there's a little 2 seconds of a crow. And it's
okay, so I sat through that, and I was like, I sat through this for that. That made me even more pissed.
It's a link to season 2, Chris. I don't even know why they had that there. What was the point? It doesn't say anything.
It didn't. No, there was no.
It's nothing. There's a crow and
yeah.
Great times. Okay, so last one.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen it. You'll have to tell me. This actually came out in the US like 6 months ago, or maybe even last year. but it's just come out here in the UK in cinemas. It has a fantastic cast. It's directed by John Michael McDonough. The cast: Matt Smith, Jessica Chastain, Ralph Fiennes, Caleb Landry Jones, Christopher Abbott, Abby Lee, Alex Jennings, the Saeed Tagmoy, fantastic actor, and the star of the film, surprisingly, was none of those names, Ishmael Kanata. Dude, this film was brutal.
I saw you put a review on, but I didn't. I have not seen this.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
okay.
No.
So the synopsis reads, The Forgiven takes place over a weekend in the high Atlas Mountains of Morocco and explores the reverberations of a random accident on the lives of both the local Muslims and Western visitors to a house party in a grand villa. So the thing that I think has audiences mixed on this is there's no one to root for in your ensemble cast because they all suck. Ooh. They are the worst in society. You hate every one of them. They are the rich upon the rich. They come to Morocco and basically treat all the helpers like slaves. And on the way, the Ralph Fiennes character and Jessica Chastain, they hit a local boy. And that's the start of the story. So on the other side of that, we have the father who comes for the boy. And Ralph Fiennes has to go on this journey with the father and the boy to make amends. And so there's this juxtaposition of Ralph Fiennes, the father and the boy in the desert, with incredibly shot scenes. It's a weird, like almost fisheye lens, but it's not rounded. It just has a distorted look to kind of give this, it's not just hot, but it's also just like stretching your eyes on some of the scenes to kind of showcase how vast the landscape is. And then you are back at the villa with this ensemble cast partying, full on drugs. It's an 18 because there's drug usage. There's some sex, but you don't see much. You just know that it's like
debauchery,
the rich of the richest. Yeah, exactly. Debauchery. And Matt Smith plays fantastically, and Saeed, who's the driver of the father in this Jeep, is with Ralph Fiennes, and they spend most of the movie together. Now, the namesake of this film, the Forgiveness, is exactly what the film is about. Often, the themes of it will be a little bit in your face, but you might forget about the main theme of it. It's actually a thriller, which is weird.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually incredibly tense, phenomenally acted. Ralph Fiennes does one of the best performances I've seen him do ever. And that's saying something because every performance Ralph Fiennes does is phenomenal. Like the guy is elite, right? Next to some of those names that you would put in the elite of like Meryl Streep and all those guys, quality theater actors, that sort of thing. Ralph Fiennes is up there. The thing is, as I mentioned, the guy that plays the father, who has very few dialogue lines, Ishmael Kanata, he has to play a guy that is in turmoil, that is angry, that is bitter, and he deals with all of these emotions at the same time without saying anything. He has a few lines of dialogue, but you literally see him sometimes he's shaking just slightly, the way he's gripping his hand or the way he's looking at Ralph Fiennes, his character. He just has it in his eyes. A guy has presence for days, and that's what kept me hooked. And then I could tell what was going to happen at the end. So I bet this is going to happen at the end. And I can't say I feel sad for the character, so I can't say that there's like a redemption story, but there's a justification for what happens, and you understand it. There's like the law of the West sort of thing. And I really enjoyed 2 hours. It's a slow burn thriller that has something to say that's often in your face, but sometimes you might forget that there's actually an underlining theme that has more to say, which is why I think some of the critics they didn't quite get it.
Oh yeah, sure. Ooh, it's for rent, like on demand, on
nice.
in
okay,
the US,
so it's already out.
So,
I recommend, highly recommend. Yeah,
okay,
a very different story that I think you might end up enjoying. Although, considering how many things we differed on this week, who knows?
Yeah, I was looking through the cast, and while his name didn't register for me, Saeed
Saeed.
Tamoy,
Yeah.
the dude, like, I love him in Three Kings.
Yes.
That George Clooney, oh my gosh, like he's the truth that he speaks in that movie.
Yeah.
You know, in the
It's been so long.
vehemence
I need to watch that film again.
so good. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to check this out. This is like I like the slow burn. Even if it's not, let me ask you this: does the ending feel justified?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Like
so it may not be happy, and it may not be what I necessarily want, but it's the right ending, right?
It's the right ending, but it may put you in the light of I don't know why. How do I feel about this? Like,
that's okay.
It's the right ending, but I wouldn't want it to end any other way. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for this. This is going on my list to check out. Maybe I'll watch it over this weekend. That'll be fun.
I really hope more people watch it, because I would love more films like this. Does it really meet? The dialogue is incredible, like intelligent dialogue. It's very, very good. Yeah.
See, that's what we miss a lot of these sometimes, where they're just they're slower, they're more intelligent, more thought out, more deep in the words with the dialogue driven, versus everything else.
There was one with Ralph Fiennes recently on Netflix as well called The Dig, that was also very underrated but excellent.
See, I didn't really enjoy that one. I mean, the dialogue was good, but I didn't.
Yeah,
I'll have to go back and watch it. Yeah. Because that was the one with the burial mounds, like the Viking
archaeological,
mound or whatever.
like the Viking. Yeah. Slow burn as well. That one.
Yeah. Well, and from a historical aspect, like this spurred my wife and I. Like, okay, when we go over to the UK, we are definitely, and I think the Museum of London. I was like, ooh, I got to go see these. That's going to be cool. So
I've never seen them. I should see them. Yeah.
Dude, you live there.
I know, but isn't that the truth though? All those things that you've never been into your own.
Yes. Oh, totally.
Your own place. Yeah. Nice. Well, I think that's everything, because I've given people a lot to chew on there.
Yeah. I'm excited to check some of these out. Space Waves. Also, I'm really. I'm gonna have to search that out. Also, that could be a weekend watch as well. That'll be fun.
Nice. So, just to support them as well, I think would be great.
Yeah, I love finding little indie things that are just different and new and quirky, and especially when they're done well, that's even better. Yeah. So, right on. Okay, well, cool. Well, we thank you so much for joining us. You can always tweet at us at Best We Watched. Don't forget, we have a Patreon opportunity at patreon.com/thebeardedones. For anybody who might be considering, we have a bunch of tiers. We've lowered our prices, so there's just a lot more opportunity within there. We even put out on our regular channels a sampling of the ridiculousness that we get up to on there, and we will be posting a few more of those exclusives, just so you can get a kind of a taste. If you're like, should I do this? Do I want to do this? Well, at least please consider it. It does help to go in these. The production for these does have a cost to it, and so that will help to offset that. Don't forget that you can hear the full audio version on our podcast. We've linked it in the descriptions below. And if you go check us out there, wherever you happen to listen to a podcast, please rate and review us. And like, share, subscribe. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday. Me, Chris, with Movies and Munchies. With that, we'll see you next week. Take care.